Hello, Unexplained Ones. This is Dr. Mounce, and welcome back to All Things Unexplained. This episode, we're going to be talking about a very dangerous situation happening right now in Denmark with drone incursions. But before we get to that, if you'd like to support the show, consider giving us a subscribe or a follow wherever you're listening or watching to this episode at. You can also support us at our website, allthingsunexplained.com. In addition, if you decide to hit the like button, we would definitely appreciate that. Leave a comment. We notice all the comments, and we try to reply to most of them. If you have something unexplained you'd like to report to us, send us an email, allthingsunexplained@yahoo.com. And now, here's Larry.
I am here to discuss the so-called flying saucers.
We know now that in the early years of the 20th century, this world was being watched closely by intelligences greater than man's.
Did the CIA write Wind of Change by the Scorpions?
As humans busied themselves about the various concerns, they were scrutinized and studied.
Dr. Loeb, what percentage chance do you give it that you have indeed uncovered extraterrestrial or non-human technology?
With infinite complacence, people went about their affairs, yet across an immense ethereal gulf, intellects vast and unsympathetic drew their plans against us.
All of a sudden, a stick out of nowhere landed right in front of us, and there was no tree, nothing overhead. Something threw it at us.
Yeah. What's your hot take on Travis Taylor?
I've got an exclusive for you guys if you want it about the Alaska.
We do.
Okay.
Dr. Taylor was revealed to be the chief scientist of the UAP task force with the Pentagon.
All Things Unexplained.
So some of that, I think, sir, will save for closed session.
So welcome back to All Things Unexplained. This episode, we examine a threat that's quietly emerging above us: unmanned aerial systems, drone warfare, and the chilling implications. In Denmark right now, multiple drone incursions have disrupted military bases and airports. The government has scrambled, public fear has spiked, and the questions are beginning to multiply. Who is behind this threat, and to what end? And is the threat already here on American soil? We're going to do a current status review of Denmark's crisis with the drones. We'll have a look at a curious 2025 drone sighting in Denmark from January. I'll let you know what a source of the show from Europe had to say, and we'll talk about some U.S. parallels from infrastructure attacks to the murky New Jersey drone situation. But first, let's hear from Danish leadership themselves.
There should be no doubt that everything points to that. This is a professional actor. When it comes to such a systematic operation in so many locations, almost simultaneously. This is what I would define as a hybrid attack with different types of drones.
I want to make it very clear. The goal of this kind of hybrid attack is to create fear. It is to create discord, and it is to make us afraid. And without drawing any conclusions regarding the evening and night's events in Denmark, we can state that sabotage and cyber attacks and other forms of hybrid attacks have become an all-too-recurring part of European reality. The purpose is to stress test borders and create fear and uncertainty among the population and decision makers. And we must also state that the threat from hybrid attacks is something that is here to stay, and it is developing rapidly. The government will present a bill that will provide increased opportunities for infrastructure owners to also shoot down drones.
Those are powerful words from Danish leaders. And where do they find themselves at now? Across September, over several nights now, drones were sighted over multiple Danish airports and military installations. Copenhagen Airport was shut down for approximately 4 hours on September 22nd. After 2 to 3 large drones entered controlled airspace. These were not isolated incidents. The National Police and Defense Forces elevated readiness, and the Danish government temporarily banned civilian drone flights around key events. NATO moved to increase surveillance presence in the Baltic Sea. The German frigate Hamburg was deployed to assist. The Danish government has labeled the events potentially a hybrid attack. That is, a non-kinetic or irregular operation intended to sow fear, confusion, and possibly provocation. Authorities have not publicly confirmed a perpetrator, but they have referred to a capable actor and are considering the chance that drones have been launched from maritime platforms or ships. Denmark's air defense and detection architecture has been tested. They even admitted that they actually don't have ground-to-air defense systems, even though supposedly they have bought some. Now, they have said that intercepting or shooting down these drones over civilian areas poses major safety challenges, so they have not really been up for doing that. The multiplicity of events we're dealing with here, from airports to military sites in disparate locations across the country, suggest coordination from these actors rather than random accidents. Now, the timing coinciding with major European events and the Danish presidency rotating heightens the political stakes. Domestic legislation in Denmark is being reconsidered. So under what rules may drones be neutralized, and what thresholds allow military action? The Danish government is balancing public calm with decisive signaling. In remarks, Danish leaders have strongly emphasized seriousness without naming clear attribution. Now, although the drone incidents in Denmark really took off last week, I discovered that there was an incident back in January in Denmark in Køge Bay. In early January 2025, reports emerged of approximately 20 large drones seen hovering over the town of Køge, exiting over Køge Bay. The police responded and did encounter 4 large drones at the Køge Marina. So were there 20 drones? We're not really sure, but that figure did come from one witness. So that's a gap there that remains unresolved in the public records. Now, All Things Unexplained did reach out to a source of ours in Europe and asked them about the drone incursions, and here's what they had to say. Its timing is interesting as it allows the media to blame the Russians, of course. That can't be rolled out, of course, but makes me wonder, this would be a very easy time to stir up nations against each other and cause confusion if a third party was flying these around, human or alien. Dangerous times from that point of view. So I think it's fair to say that our source is a bit on the skeptical side about what exactly is going on. You get the sense that attribution for wherever these drones are coming from could easily be manipulated in a very incendiary atmosphere, and that a false flag or confusion operations are definitely possible here. So the Køge case is not confirmed as part of the September wave that we're witnessing right now, but it does illustrate that drone incursions in Denmark may precede or run parallel to this currently unfolding crisis. Let's take a look at a bit of a historical review of some drone incursions, and it all starts right down the road from the All Things Unexplained studios here in central North Carolina. Dating back to December 2022, Moore County, North Carolina, there was an attack on a power substation there. Someone shot up the substation, knocked the power out to the whole county. Tragically, one woman who depended on an oxygen machine died when the power did go out. So the local police tried to blame this on a couple of things. One, they tried to blame it on just a bunch of rednecks out having fun, shooting up their guns. Now, that explanation never made sense to me, because why would just a bunch of rednecks decide to go out and knock their own power out and hurt their own selves, their family and their friends that are living there in Moore County? That never made sense to me. The other thing the police tried to blame it on was protesters of a drag queen story time at the local library. Again, that just sounded ludicrous to me, that someone would go through the trouble to shoot up the power substation just to knock the power out at the library. I'm not buying it. That attack on the substation remains unsolved to this day. Now, the media has reached out many times to the substations, to the power companies, and asked them, hey, what are you doing with your security upgrades? Because we know that you're working on security upgrades, but they have remained very tight-lipped about that. I think we're getting a much better idea, however, of what those upgrades are. Now, All Things Unexplained had a source that told us that that attack was actually done with a military-grade firearm, and whoever did it knew exactly where to hit the substation to knock the power out. So we do have to ask ourselves, and we're going to see this come back into play, if someone can deface a substation so easily with a high-powered rifle, what might they be capable of doing with a drone or a swarm of drones? Now, there have been other attacks on infrastructure and drone threats in the United States, such as the Metcalf sniper attack in California in 2013. 17 transformers were damaged by rifle fire. Repair costs ran into the millions. Though power disruption was limited, it served as an early wake-up call to vulnerabilities of the grid. Let's remember, in late 2024, early 2025, there was a major drone incursion in the New Jersey area. The U.S. had multiple reports of large, mysterious drones over New Jersey and the Northeast. Some officials initially dismissed them, such as John Kirby, who publicly minimized the threats and even went so far as to call it mass hysteria, whereas other officials simply said, we don't know.
At risk is public safety at risk,
but we just don't know.
We have not been able to corroborate any of the reported visual sightings.
Are we concerned that there are nefarious intentions?
There's nothing that is known.
It appears that many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft being operated lawfully.
The fact that we have these unknown drones, UASs,
but we just don't know.
There is no evidence of any foreign-based involvement from coastal vessels.
There's nothing that is known.
There are no reported or confirmed drone sightings in any restricted airspace.
There's nothing that is known.
No malicious activity.
But we just don't know.
There's no known malicious activity occurring.
But we just don't know.
We urge Congress to pass important legislation that will extend and expand existing counter-drone authorities.
And that's the concerning part.
Meanwhile, Pentagon documents reveal that a classified strategy for countering drones had already been released in December 2024, signaling internal seriousness about the matter. Later, Pentagon briefings did take on a more serious nature as they revealed a new classified strategy for dealing with drones.
And you talked about this new classified strategy, and you talked before about that there were some incursions, particularly down in Virginia, over military facilities, and there's been others. Is there anything in the strategy that's more tactical that allows commanders to do anything, or is this just a broad statement of policy?
Of course, it's got all kinds of good information, but it's classified, so I can't talk about it. No. So really, Lita, again, recognizing that the strategy is classified, we will have an unclassified fact sheet that we'll be providing soon. Really, just kind of looking at how we'll approach this. One is ensuring that the department is prepared to conduct counter unmanned system operations, counter UAS operations. Two is looking at how we respond to incidents that do occur by pulling together subject matter experts and resources. And then third is tracking equipment and counter UAS equipment, UAS as one aspect of drones. So really, again, broad brush. It's kind of looking at this in a comprehensive and cohesive way. Again, I'm not going to go into the specific tactics, techniques, procedures at this point, but it enables the department to approach this in a way, again, that's comprehensive cohesive and holistic.
What did they mean about calling in outside experts? Your guess is as good as ours. Want to be a real part of the show? One of the best ways you can support us is by visiting our official store. All you have to do is head over to unexplainedswag.com. There you can pick up podcast t-shirts, podcast hoodies, coffee mugs, and lots more, including our best-selling UFO t-shirt and UAP t-shirt. Just head over to unexplainedswag.com. You can also get to the store from our main website, allthingsunexplained.com, and from wherever you're listening or watching to us at. Not only that, but Homeland Security briefings took on a very ominous tone. In particular, one Homeland Security briefing in December of 2024 had several disturbing revelations.
Rear Admiral Spadero, how many drone incursions have taken place over U.S. military installations over the past 2 years? We got the number last time we had a briefing of 350, but have they grown, or what's the current data you're willing to share?
Yeah, so the exact number I'd be happy to share in a classified setting, but I can tell you that it has grown.
I'm actually curious, why did we get the 350 number in an unclassified setting? That was one of the questions I had.
It's a great question, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
This next clip is incredibly disturbing and brings up a lot of ethical and moral dilemmas.
And in less than 3 weeks, an FPV drone operator can be mission ready. Operators with no previous battlefield experience have been credited with as many as 1,500 confirmed kills. The disproportionality is vast. And this is perhaps the main takeaway in a total war peer-to-peer scenario. If technology allows one side of a conflict to impose extraordinary damage on the exquisite, expensive, difficult-to-master weapon systems of their adversary, and can do so at a fraction of the cost expended by their enemy, it doesn't require an economist to see where that leads. It is easy to be a critic, but I am convinced that the United States and its NATO allies have a very narrow window of opportunity to address this major shift in comparative advantage.
So apparently one of these drone operators can be completely trained in as little as 3 weeks. Not only that, but there are drone operators with 1,500 confirmed kills. Drone operators that have no battlefield experience whatsoever. But that report gets even more frightening when we consider those 1,500 drones all were launched from the same mothership, with each drone pre-programmed for a different target. Imagine those drones being capable of loitering at those targets until time to carry out their mission. So essentially, we might have seen 1,500 confirmed kills almost simultaneously from a single operator. Now imagine a sky full of thousands of drone motherships stocked with millions of drones, and each pre-programmed with individual targets that they could loiter at until the time to strike. It's quite the apocalyptic thought. Near the same time, we had politicians and law enforcement officers that had drones spotted loitering at their homes or places of work. When you think about that, you begin to realize what a deadly, serious situation that we are dealing with here. The next clip from that hearing deals with a Tennessee man who had deadly plans with a drone.
Just last month, a subject was arrested and charged in Tennessee for attempting to use a UAS with an explosive device to destroy an energy facility. That is the same case mentioned by the ranking member. That subject was driven by an ideology to disrupt society through the collapse of the national power grid. Those are two examples of the evolving ways that UAS are being used to harm us and our interests.
So this man in Tennessee who planned to take out a large swath of the power grid, he had been studying the substation attacks with firearms, the one just like in Moore County, North Carolina. And now we've gone from drone incursions on the east coast of the United States to deadly drone attacks in Denmark. The Danish government has responded by temporarily banning civilian drone flights increasing security measures, and elevating the national operative staff to round-the-clock readiness. NATO is mobilizing added presence and surveillance in the Baltic region, deploying assets, including an air defense frigate, and integrating ISR, that's intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance platforms. Danish officials have communicated with NATO allies that they suspect state actors are behind some of the incursions, though no definitive attribution has been made public. From silent swarms over Denmark to unexplained drone sightings in our own skies, the message is clear. The drone age of warfare is here, whether we like it or not, and it's rewriting the rules of security. These are not toys. They are tools of war, sabotage, and intimidation, capable of crippling critical infrastructure, disrupting entire regions, and even taking lives without warning. In Moore County, North Carolina, one attack on a substation left an entire county in the dark and cost a life. In Denmark, airports and military bases have been forced to halt operations. In New Jersey, officials tell us it's misidentifications, hysteria, or isolated acts. Yet behind the scenes, classified counter-drone strategies are quietly rolled out. Experts are called in, and nations are scrambling to keep up. The truth is, attribution is murky. Was it Russia, third party, rogue actors, or something we haven't yet named? And that uncertainty may be the most dangerous weapon of all. Confusion, mistrust, seeded into every layer of our society. At All Things Unexplained, we'll keep watching, we'll keep asking, and we'll keep reporting what we find. Because if a future sky filled with drones is inevitable, then the fight for transparency and accountability has to start now. I'm Dr. Mounce. Thanks for tuning in to All Things Unexplained. Until next time.
I am here to discuss the so-called flying saucers.
We know now that in the early years of the 20th century, this world was being watched closely by intelligences greater than man's.
Did the CIA write Wind of Change by the Scorpions?
As humans busied themselves about the various concerns, they were scrutinized and studied.
Dr. Loeb, what percentage chance do you give it that you have indeed uncovered extraterrestrial or non-human technology?
With infinite complacence, people went about their affairs, yet across an immense ethereal gulf, intellects vast and unsympathetic drew their plans against us.
All of a sudden, a stick out of nowhere landed right in front of us, and there was no tree, nothing overhead. Something threw it at us.
Yeah. What's your hot take on Travis Taylor?
I've got an exclusive for you guys if you want it about the Alaska.
We do.
Okay.
Dr. Taylor was revealed to be the chief scientist of the UAP task force with the Pentagon.
All Things Unexplained.
So some of that, I think, sir, we'll save for closed session.